Hello, good evening. I'm Ernest Mina. Headlines on our Prime Desk tonight. National crackdown on violent crimes as the Special Anti-Robbery Task Force busts 21 suspects for possession of weapons.
Let's make our point clear that the police is determined to fight it. Those who will not permit others to live in peace and tranquility will be disturbed by the police.
We'll bring you details as security analysts blame economic hardship and inadequate logistics for the seeming surge in robbery cases in parts of the country. Also tonight, torrential rains in the northern region leave part of it flooded, with scores of people trapped as residents fear their situation will be aggravated if Burkina Faso authorities go ahead with their planned spillage of the Bagri Dam.
And make sure any engineer who supervises work and the work doesn't go proper, they should quit him.
Opposition NDC challenges General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party, John Boadu, to clear his name in the 500 missing excavator scandal.
We are calling on John Boadu and other MPP functionaries who are alleged to be neck deep in the destruction of our forests and water bodies to come out and clear their sullied reputations first before gathering the moral high ground to pontificate about corruption.
Later in business, the latest release from the Bank of Ghana reveals that 14 out of 23 banks offer lending rate of more than the industry average of about 20.5%.
Banks are not responding accordingly. Then what the banks are telling the central bank is that our cost of doing business is not adequately being captured.
We'll hear more from a banking expert, Dr. Benjamin Amon. My name is Ernest Mino, and Johnny Prime is coming to you live from our studios at Fanofa here in Kokomlemle, Accra. We're on digital TV because we are free to air. DSTV channel 421, GoTV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. Many thanks for joining us. Let's begin with some crime stories. Armed robbers on Saturday attacked a number of passengers traveling on the Tamale-Bolga Highway near Wale Wale in the northeast region. The attack was said to have occurred at about 4 p.m. between Wale Wale and Wulungu, where 3 masked men reportedly emerged from the bushes and seized 2 vehicles carrying the passengers from Wale Wale, Bolga and Tamale. Several travelers on board the vehicles were robbed of their belongings, including a young man who said the robbers took 4,000 Ghana cedis from him. The robbers, however, fled back into the bushes when they saw a military truck approaching. Some of the victims speaking to John News said the robbery operation occurred near 2 police checkpoints, but police officers who were manning one of the checkpoints failed to respond, claiming they had no bulletproof vest to pursue the robbers. We have more on the following report.
This is the stretch of the Tamale-Bolga Highway near Wale Wale where the robbery incident was said to have occurred. The stretch was gridlocked yesterday after 3 armed marksmen held scores of travelers hostage in a daylight robbery operation that reportedly lasted close to 30 minutes. The gunmen were said to have targeted a vehicle from Bolga to Wale Wale but decided to rob other passengers who had run into the operations. One of the victims, a businessman who was on his way to Wale Wale to purchase building materials, had to return empty-handed as his money was taken from him. His name is Philed Azoba Atanga, and he narrated what he saw and experienced.
We were coming from Bolga to Wale Wale, a sprinter like this. So when we got to between just by the curve, after the first barrier, the police barrier, then the robbers guys came out from the bush there. So when they came, they gave a warning shot, and our car, there was a motorbike rider with someone at the back too, with the motor. So the 2 people, they just applied the brakes immediately because they crossed them first. So they couldn't move. They applied the brakes and even fell. Okay. So they just rushed to them, and we were also the next people they targeted. So we also stopped. So we raised our arms and we dropped down actually. So they they let us lying on the floor, the operator's hall. Me personally, I'm a businessman. Yeah. So I was going to buy my building materials, move back and so. So as I was moving, I can't exactly give the amount, but I saw it was more than 4,000 plus. Fine. So they took all the money.
The robbers also took many personal valuables, including mobile phones from the travelers, leaving them stranded on the busy highway.
People's money with my everything. They took everything. They took my everything. They took all my food. My food is all I got.
The incident also left some of the passengers, especially the women, terrified.
Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus! More passing! No! Oh Jesus!
So this incident is coming a few days after robbers attacked passengers, including an international journalist, Ahmed Talay, just this past Monday. The police say they have killed 2 suspected armed robbers and arrested 4 others for the alleged involvement in some robberies and the murder cases along the Kintampo-Buipe Tamale Highway. Preliminary investigations indicate that the suspects were behind many of the robberies, including the recent killing of the international journalist. Now, in the Volta region, a gentleman is in the grip of the police for allegedly killing and heading a 12-year-old boy in Aveime in the central Ton district of the Volta region. 2 other suspects have been picked up by the police for their alleged involvement in the crime, which residents describe as ritual murder. Speaking to Joy News, Volta Regional Police Public Relations Officer Sergeant Prince Dolwache explained investigations have been launched into the case. Director General of Public Affairs, ACP Kwesi Ofori, says there are strategic interventions to halt the activities of criminals.
We are determined, to fight highway robberies wherever they are in the country, especially Bono East and the Northern Corridor. And we are determined to do that. Our observation pinpoints to the fact that the situation has been very perennial. It is a perennial legacy that need to be stopped. And the Acting Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu Dampare, has pledged to the people of Ghana that we're going to stop it. And as a result, we've deployed special anti-robbery task force to the eastern region, specifically Afram Plains, Samankasi areas, and then in the Bono East, that is Kejeji, Kwame Danso, Yeji, through Techiman, and all other places. And we are determined to stop it. Our men on there carrying out special tax operations, targeted operations, as well as maintaining general law enforcement on those routes. And we can say that things are moving on very well. Yesterday, in the Eastern Region of Afram Place, for instance, we arrested 21 people with various arms, ammunitions, and implements adapted to cause harm and mayhem. And we are so determined. In fact, we are sweeping all those corridors, to make sure that the good people over there live in peace and security. At Abesim or in that environment should assist the police as we unravel the mystery about the murder of these 2 young men and what we saw in the fridge or freezer. It is very unfortunate, and I believe that all of them need to rally behind the police so that we get to the bottom of the matter. It is a lone crime or in partnership with others, and for what purpose? All these things need to come to the fore, and we may count heavily on the people of Abesim. And as the Acting Inspector General, appeal to the chiefs and people of Abesim to support the police in his effort, to get to the bottom of this matter. Secondly, also, the Inspector General appealed to the family, to put up a liaison person so that we can work with, and see to the logical conclusion of this case. And so far, so good. All assurances from the services of the clinical psychologist from our counseling department have been met, and the team is now back. And we believe that the relationship might yield, very fruitful outcome.
Let's do some more on this story. We can speak to security analyst Dr. Ishmael Norma. He's also the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute for Security, Disaster and Emergency Studies. Doc, I'm grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. So the police identifies that this, first of all, is a perennial problem, and they have rolled out some interventions to deal with this. Do you find these interventions being taken by the police to crack down on the situation reassuring?
I think for now, with specific regard to this particular set of crimes, they are doing the best that they can, because armed robbery is very dynamic, so you cannot actually preposition them. They only have to go after the criminals when it happens, and it looks like they have done a credible intervention right now. So let's congratulate them. And I know Christopher is very serious and a man of integrity, so he wouldn't put his name out there if he didn't believe in what he was saying. So I trust that they are doing the best they can for now.
And you indicated that this is all the crimes we're witnessing maybe as a result of economic hardship, and the other part is the lack of logistics by the security agencies. Let's start with the economic hardship. How do you relate that to the happenings?
Truly, everybody in Ghana knows that the times are very hard. Cost of basic food items have gone up. And the individual who used to earn money and used to care for about 10 people, today he can only care for about 5 people. So there's a large cohort of people that are unsupported by their family and relatives and friends. And so there is always a concern. I think government hasn't done a very good job in providing jobs for the youth. When you create 159,000 or so new jobs through one district, one factory, it is a good effort, but it's a drop in the ocean. It's very, very minuscule. So I think even government itself recognizes that they need to do more, and the youth don't have patience to wait, because when a man is hungry, there's very little that he can do to really pacify himself. So I think the solutions have always been known, except that it is now that the youth are negatively reacting to the fact that they need jobs, the fact that they need money, and government is totally unresponsive to their needs.
And on the part of the logistics that you talk about, is it really the case? Because we've heard the Interior Minister talk about how they have resourced the police, for instance, and the argument you hear others make is that it may not be necessarily a logistic problem, but the willingness of the police to go the extra mile to resolve some of these, issues.
Well, it's a combination of logistics. Government claims that they've given a lot of vehicles to the police, but the vehicles went to the top brass of the police. The CID people, the investigators, boots on the ground, don't have any dedicated vehicles for them to do their jobs, except those who are on patrol and so on and so forth. But I would like to see my brother, Kwesofori, tell us Ghanaians how many CID departments within the police, within police stations that have been given vehicles to help them to do their investigation. How many have been given iPads, computers, for them to do their investigation? How many of them have a budget to do investigations when crimes are reported? So the criminals know that the system is porous. And this is an arduous task, because the system has been neglected for a very long time, And we are now hoping that the new IGP will be able to pull some resources together. But I blame the chairman of the police, POVA, because the vice president of Ghana is the chairman. And he should see to it that the criminal justice system works well. The prison system has been neglected by almost every president of Ghana for the last 20 years. And we know that our prisoners are treated like sardines. Every time a president stands up to talk about rule of law, he doesn't understand penology. He doesn't understand prison system. Because you cannot tell me that we are following a rule of law government when you throw people in prison like garbage, like sardines, and you expect them to come out of that system and be good citizens. It's not going to happen.
Very well. Dr. Norman, I'm grateful that you could join us on Joy News Prime. That's Dr. Ishmael Norman, a security analyst. Let's do some politics now. And the opposition NDC has thrown a challenge to the General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party, John Boadu, to clear his name in the 500 missing excavator scandal. John Boadu, in a secret tape that emerged in the wake of that controversy, was mentioned by Ekousi, the then chairman of the NPP in the Central Region, as one of those who benefited from the seized excavators as part of the fight against Galamsey under the former Minister for Environment, Professor Frimpong Boateng. Last week, the NPP's General Secretary held a news conference to question John Mohamed's locus to speak about corruption and for his call for accountability.
On corruption, former President Mahama has said without proof that the NPP has stolen Ghana's money and that he can ensure accountability through elections. This is extremely rich, coming from a party credited with the Supreme Court of Ghana, with the ability to create, loot, and share public funds with impunity. Is Mama of Government Official 1 infamy and the Ford vehicle from Canezo contractors talking about corruption? Is that the same Mama whose government signed into a half-baked contract of $1.6 billion for the Ghana retail payment system infrastructure? Sifting Switch Systems Limited have just lost an arbitration demand for $478 million from Ghana for revoking that agreement. The Akufo-Addo administration did a far more enhanced project for only $4.2 million. They were requiring $1.2 billion. We only used $4.5 million to do that project. And they didn't even care. They went ahead to demand that we should pay them an arbitration fee of $478 million, and the court had ruled against them. This is the same Mama who was asked on an international media platform whether he was corrupt, and he replied, in which capacity? As a human being? We all know that unlike President Akufo-Addo, candidate John Mahama cannot and has not been able to make any bold statement to tout his incorruptibility because of his personal involvement in a lot of the corruption scandals that plague his administration.
Today, the NDC says John Boadu has no moral authority to speak on issues of corruption. The communications officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, explains why.
Till date, none of the 500 excavators, gold, and the other equipment seized from illegal miners by the illegal mining tax force established by President Akufo-Addo have been accounted for. You would recall that when the missing excavator scandal broke, the then Minister for Environment, Professor Frimpong Boateng, accused the NPP Regional Vice Chairman for the Central Region, Mr. Ekousi, of stealing these excavators and filed a criminal complaint with the police to that effect, whereupon Ekousi was arrested. Subsequent to this arrest, a videotape recording emerged which captured two individuals in a heated argument. about how the seized excavators were distributed to officials and functionaries of the ruling New Patriotic Party and the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government on grounds that their party needs money. In quotes, party Nyesika. In that tape, Ekwawusi was heard mentioning the man who likes to accuse everyone of corruption, their General Secretary John Boadu, as one of the MPP bigwigs who were giving some of the seized excavators for his illegal mining businesses. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the height of hypocrisy, or perhaps sheer impudence, driven by the intoxications of political power, for this same John Boadu to mount a moral horse and talk about corruption today. We are calling on John Boadu and other MPP functionaries who are alleged to be neck deep in the destruction of our forests and water bodies through their illegal mining activities to come out and clear their sullied reputations first before gathering the moral high ground to pontificate about corruption.
He also warns that a future NDC government will hold the Agric Minister, the Health Minister, and the Finance Minister and all other government officials named in various corruption scandals to account.
So alarming and pervasive as corruption become under the watch of President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia, that even fertilizer worth millions of Ghana cedis, meant for farmers under their much-touted Planting for Food and Jobs program, have been stolen and smuggled outside the country by some greedy elements in the ruling MPP. Fertilizer to their stealing. When the Minister of Agriculture was asked about this, he shamelessly told the nation that these tons of fertilizer were stolen and smuggled by camels and donkeys in Burkina Faso. Hence, government's inability to question or arrest the perpetrators of this broad daylight robbery. Only in Ghana, and I repeat, only in Ghana, can such cock and bull stories be entertained for a minute by public officials. However, let this message get to the Agric Minister and others who are milking the nation through shady deals under the Planting for Food and Jobs program, that we are watching with eagle eyes and we shall hold them to account one by one.
The NDC says it has a solution to what it describes as the unprecedented corruption under the Akufo-Addo government.
We, the good people of this country, who still have our conscience and integrity intact, have a duty to unborn generations to rescue our beloved country from the clutches of this incompetent, inept, dishonest, nepotistic, and corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government, and restore her back to the path of development, accountability, inclusivity, and true progress. This is why President Mahama is calling on all of us to kick these greedy thieves out of office in 2024, to afford the next NDC administration the opportunity to hold them accountable for their many corrupt acts. We cannot afford to give them 4 more years to steal more and to cover up and enjoy their loot, while majority of us continue to wallow in squalor and abject poverty. Regime change is the only hope we have of holding President Akufo-Addo, Dr. Bawumia, and the appointees accountable for their stewardship.
Away from politics, torrential rains in the northern region left some parts flooded with scores of people trapped in their homes for hours. Personnel of the National Disaster Management Organization and the Ghana National Fire Service had to rescue some of them. The downpour lasted about 3 hours, triggering fears of residents their situation could be aggravated if Burkinabe authorities go ahead with their planned spillage of the Bagri Dam. My colleague Martina Bugri, who was also affected by this, has more in this report.
This is my first time. I didn't see some before on this road. So I crossed first bridge. That was the second bridge. So I reached the middle and I saw that the rain wanted to push me inside the hole. So I returned back that I also come back, I come and wait here. So after the rain, the erosion go down, I said I'll continue my journey.
How long have you been waiting here?
More than 1 hour, getting to 2 hours. Getting to 2 hours.
Where were you heading to?
That's the last bridge, some 4 buildings over there. So this is my second time. So the moment I read the moment I reach the middle, I want to force and cross. And I had the rain to push me my motor. So I decided if I didn't turn my back, me pass my motor will go off.
We're compelled to invite fire service together with NADMO to come and help us save lives. And indeed, they have done it. We were able to rescue. They swam up to that house and rescue all those people.
How many people did they rescue?
6 people and about 4 children.
It has not been easy. It has not been easy. Because as of today, none of us can go to Tamale. Any attempt, you may even lose your life. As you can see, evidence it has been divided into 3 sessions. The first session is the one at Taha, the second one is at Buwile, and the third one is at Fu. In fact, I think the incumbent MP house has been flooded. Mutaoki, former MP for Damangu, the house has been flooded. And so many houses, we can talk of thousands of houses, has been got stranded.
People have locked up the other side and the other side again. A lot of people have locked up. So what we need is that the government should come out and make sure any engineer who supervises work and the work doesn't go proper, they should query him.
Theophilus Papa Nick Clegg is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Meteorological Agency. He joins us via phone. Mr. Clegg, thank you for joining us. You did predict that there will be more rains, but did you relay this information to local authorities to help them in planning and addressing such occurrences we are witnessing today?
Yeah, good evening to you and your viewers and listeners. And let me say that we have been working with our stakeholders. And to be precise, we work with these city authorities and then NADMO. What we've been doing is that we give weather information, that is weather forecast, weather warning, and any weather that will be detrimental to the people. We give it to our stakeholders so that they will also plan with it and then send this information out to the public.
So we know that in the northern region, the situation that was just reported by my colleague Martina Bugri, they saw a 3-hour downpour. What can they expect in the coming days?
For the northern sector of the country, let me say that they are in their peak of the rainy season. And what has even aggravated the situation is the opening of the Bagre Dam.
Exactly.
When this dam is open, more water is spilled and it comes to that section of the country. And so it destroys their crop and then their inhabitants. Mm-hmm. So I want to say that they are in danger. So we are calling upon NADMO to put in the measures. As for the preventive measures, it is a long-term something that has to be done. But immediately, those who live around those areas should be evacuated, and then measures will be put in place to make sure that they are safe.
Yes, Mr. Clegg, if you could just help us with details of your forecast for the coming days and how long this will last in terms of the season, so that then perhaps NADMO and viewers who are watching us can also plan in that direction.
Okay, let me say that for the southern sector of the country, we are privileged. I wouldn't even use the word privilege because some farmers have been deprived of the rains. You could realize that the rains were not favorable for the East Coast and then the West Coast. Mm. And for the East Coast, I'm referring to Aflao, Sugar, Copper, Kita, and this environment stretching down to Tema, Accra, Sopon, Takrabe, Cape Coast, Hafasini, and this environment. The rain wasn't favorable. But the middle portions of the country, Kumasi, Obuasi, Tesimantin, Tampo, and this environment, and then the northern sector of the country has benefited.
Okay.
So for now, if it had not been for the Bagre Dam, for the northern portions of the country, they'll be experiencing not too heavy rains.
Okay.
But for the Bagre Dam, they are in danger. That is why I'm calling for help for those areas. That is the northern portions of the country.
Very well.
But for our projection, hello?
Yes, just wrap up on that for us.
Okay. For our projection, because the southern portions of the country didn't do too well, and this has been an experience for the past 3 years, we are anticipating that for the minor season, it will do better than the major season. Okay. So the rains are going to come down in this southern sector. But for the northern portions of the country, the rain will be seasonal. But had it not been for the Bagre Dam, they wouldn't have been in any danger.
Thank you so much. That's Theophilus Papa-Nick, who is the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana Meteorological Agency. You're watching Johnny's Prime with me, Ernest Minnie. Still to come, latest release from the Bank of Ghana reveals that 14 out of 23 banks offer lending rate more than the industry average of 20.5%.
The banks are not responding accordingly. Then what the banks are telling the central bank is that our cost of doing business is not adequately being captured.
Charles Aite has details of this and more after this break. Please stay with us.
Yeah, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. Banks may incur higher cost of doing business, hence their reluctance to reduce the lending rates. That's according to banking and finance expert Dr. Benjamin Amoam, as calls increase for the Bank of Ghana to step in. The latest release from the Bank of Ghana reveals that 14 out of 23 banks offer lending rates of more than industry average of about 20.5%. ADB Bank, for instance, offered the highest rate, averaged 24.89% as of the end of July 2021. Take a listen to this report by George Riafe.
The average lending rate of the Universal Banks report put together by the Bank of Ghana tracks the real interest that the banks are charging on loans offered to customers and the general public. From the publication, CalBank's average lending rate of 15.97% beats the rate offered by the other 22 universal banks ending July this year. The bank that came close to what Cal offers is GT Bank, which charges customers and the public an average rate of 16.97%. However, ADB can be described as the bank that has the highest interest rate on the market, as at the end of July this year, it offered 24.87% as average interest on all loan products. The central bank in the report argues that these rates represents the average of all interest rates applicable on loan products for borrowers, which has been reported by all the commercial banks. The Bank of Ghana believes the regular publication of this report will help bring down rates. The central bank had in the past been always publishing this data. However, it was halted for no official reason. It is not clear for now what might have influenced its resumption or whether the recent calls by the President during the inauguration of the reconstituted board of the Bank of Ghana for them to help drive down rates might have influenced this.
Well, speaking on the marketplace, Dr. Benjamin Amoam, who is also a finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, indicated that the real cost of doing business by banks may not be adequately captured by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana.
It is the banks that do the actual lending. It is the banks that go around mobilizing for funds. And it is the banks that must promise their depositors interest rates or deposit rates that will attract funds from them. On the other side, the Monetary Policy Committee looks at the overall economy and then attempts to influence price levels in the economy. Now, if the banks are not responding accordingly, then what the banks are telling the central bank is that our cost of doing business is not adequately being captured in what the Monetary Policy Committee is coming out with. And that is why the banks are finding it difficult to easily reduce their rates, simply because how much they contract their deposit is not what is being shown by the MPC. And because these banks are competitive forces, they may not want to perch themselves at a rate that disadvantages them. So if all the 23 banks also are clustering around a particular rate, then it is telling us that the true cost of borrowing is what the banks are exhibiting and not necessarily what the MPC is putting out.
Away from that, the fire service in the Ashanti region is adopting measures to reduce the turnaround time in firefighting within markets in the region. The measure is aimed at reducing the costs incurred by victims of fire. Firefighters have been trained on the use of firefighting installations at the KJTL market, among other strategies to deal with fire emergencies in the city. Nanaya Ojima has more in this report.
Market fires, due to poor setups of most markets, have ruined many of their sources of income. Blockage of access routes have impeded firefighters in dousing flames in markets. Acting Regional Commander ACFO Henry Giwa says the service is embarking on sensitization campaigns in traditional markets in Kumasi as part of measures to deal with the problem.
Bantama market and Asafo market, and we've also intensified our educations over there to make sure they are very abreast with fire prevention and even firefighting before we even get there. So if you could realize, these days we are not joking, and that's why we've been able to reduce the fires in Ashanti region by 20.4%.
Unlike many markets in the country, the KJTL market in Kumasi is built with firefighting installations. Each of the 2 installed reservoirs in the market supplies enough of water for fire emergencies. Though measures are well in place for firefighting, the service has taken its personnel through the technology application in the market. ACFO Jiwa explains.
And we've observed that they have almost all the firefighting facilities, fire detection systems, all have been installed over here. So in case of any emergency or any fire outbreak, the smoke detectors are supposed to pick them, send a signal to the control panel, and the control room will also send a signal to our fire officers who are also stationed over here for us to react. So I think the installations are very good. I think this is something that we've also observed. There are some people because they wanted to put their wares on their tables, they've erected some tables along the exit way. We've observed them and will communicate same to management so that some of these things are prevented. Otherwise, in case of emergency and people are rushing, it will impede them, and if you don't take care, there will be a stampede.
The service is on a mission to reduce fires by 60%, achieving 20% by end of the first half of the year. Being proactive and intensifying fire education are among key strategies adopted to meet the targets. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
And I'm Charles Aita with Business News. I'll leave you with a summary of international business stories to stay, after which we have sports.
Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime, and it's time to bring you sport. I am Hans Mensah, and the Hearts of Oak coach Samuel Boadu has been crowned the NASCO coach of the year after guiding the club to win last season's Ghana Premier League and the FA Cup. The former Mediama coach beat Mariano Barreto, Vladislav Veric, Arno Walker, and Prosper Nate Ogum to the coveted accolade.
I was born to
Sports segment is brought to you by
SoccerBet, your best bets for sports betting.
Shield acrylic paint, the premium paint.
I'm really happy for this opportunity. Yeah, I have to give thanks to the organizers and the NASCO. I dedicate this trophy and award to the board chairman, Togo Afede, for his confidence that he has in me to take part of the House of Folk job, and my wife as well for encouraging me to move to House of Folk for all these awards. And then to my technical team who are in supporting of the hardworking, their advice and everything bring me through to this stage. And then the captain of the House of Folk and the players as well. They did marvelous work. They listened to instructions that brought us far. And then to the House of Folk family, with the support that they give us, we do appreciate it. And I believe that this is not the end, and I believe they'll keep supporting us going to Africa. I love House of Folk family, and I love House of Folk people.
Hearts of Oak, Mataka Ibrahim Salif, who was a judge, NASCO Player of the Season, and board member Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, he has launched a skating attack on the Ghana Football Association for awarding what he calls low-quality medals to the Phobians after winning the Ghana Premier League and FA Cup last season. Pictures of medals awarded to players and the technical team members of Hearts of Oak was met with serious criticism by football fans on social media, with many insisting the GFA could have done a better job of appreciating the work put in by the Phobians.
The club have not at all in any way complained or said anything. But the FA, as a leadership, the FA has been there for years. I mean, years, over 60 years now, if I've said so. And there have been progress all along, you know. They are there now, they see the best in the world being done. And I don't think there's a need for anyone to put pressure on them, you know, to better, you know, their positions and also better the positions of the clubs, because this sort of third class, you know, cups and whatnot, you know, it's unacceptable now. It's unacceptable. Look at the sort of medals the boys had. I mean, it's unacceptable.
But just before I check out, Ghana's Emmanuel Oku is already focusing on winning a medal for Ghana at next year's Commonwealth Games after finishing 7th in the powerlifting event at the ongoing Paralympic Games. My colleague Asari Bediako has the rest of the story.
The Ghana flag was raised high on Saturday when powerlifter Emmanuel Nitete Oku mounted the stage to battle for honors in the 72 kg men's powerlifting competition at this year's Paralympic Games in Tokyo. His qualification mark of 142 kg gave him the opportunity to go head-to-head with the best in the world. He was the second to lift out of 10. He displayed calmness and composure to lift 160 kg in his first attempt. It placed him in contention for a medal. He returned and attempted to lift 168 kg but was ruled out on technical grounds. He returned for the third time, this time daring to lift. Again, his lift was flagged red, meaning a technical foul. But immense efforts gave Ghana a placement in the records of the Paralympic Games as the second Ghanaian to record a lift in the event and the 7th placed finish, the highest Ghana has ever placed in the Paralympic Games. Emmanuel Nitete Oku is disappointed he could not win a medal for Ghana, but he's proud of his personal achievement.
It's really great. I feel really great to be here, you know.
It's my first Paralympic Games, and it took me 3 years hard work to gain the qualifiers to be here, and I feel good to be here. Although I couldn't do more than my personal best, but I did all I could. It was a tough competition, so I think I did so much well, and I'm really glad I did what I did.
The 30-year-old powerlifter is already looking forward to the next international competition.
Right now, my next target is Commonwealth Games, and I'm going to work so hard, more than I used to place a better position than I've done here.
That's it for sports. We take a break here on Joy News Prime.
And of course, beautiful Becky is here with all the latest in the world of showbiz. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you.
How
are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm fantastic. The Lord has been good to us.
Looks like you're taking me to church this evening.
Of course, yeah. Because
Sometimes.
Irene is in the news.
Okay.
She was on Joy FM on Sunday with Fifi Fulton,
Mhm.
and she's been opening up about her journey from secular music to gospel music, and she spoke about addiction. She spoke about a lot of things that she battled with, and today she has released a song, the first
A gospel song?
song,
Okay.
to officially introduce her to the gospel world. I say she titles it More, and she's been talking about how she got the song.
So I fell asleep and I woke up to singing in my left ear. I was hearing like people singing.
Oh wow.
So I got up and I was looking around to wonder what's happening. Are people singing
who's
the
singing
plane?
in this board
So I
flight?
stood up and looked around. Most people were sleeping, some people were reading, but I could still hear it. I was born to perform signs and wonders in His name, in my left ear. So I realized what was going on. The presence of God was so strong, in that moment. I was sitting down in the seat and just humming it and tears coming down. So I took my phone and recorded what I was hearing. So that's how More came about.
Sounds very, very classic.
Sounds like Beyonce mixed with Aretha Franklin.
Becky.
And I'm telling you, I mean, if you listen to R&B gospel music, I mean, Irene, this is perfect. So if you're out there, please support.
Well, I hear a bit of CC also in there.
CC1, yes.
Yeah, getting to the chorus, it sounds pretty much, yeah. But it's good. It brings out the best in her. I mean, these kinds of songs, and I wish her all the best in her music, gospel music.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't downloaded yet, just go stream the music and make sure that she continues doing.
To bless you.
Yeah, praise the Lord. Thank you. So, wait, let's still stay on music, because it looks like today a lot of people have released songs. Sina Soul has released a song featuring Kiddy called Feelings, and she was on Daybreak Hits, and she spoke about how she created the song together with Kiddy.
Okay.
Kiddy and I are friends, and we're just friends. We really, really have, we like fooling. So sometimes, every now and then, me and him hang out. And so it was at a hangout session, watching movies. We have that kind of times once in a while. So I went to his place. I wasn't alone though. I went to a couple of people, watching a movie, hanging out, and then.
Where were you watching the movie? In Kiddy's house?
Yes. But so I went there to watch movies. We were just chilling.
You went to Kiddy's house to watch movies?
We're chilling as watching.
So Kiddy now works with Silver Bed.
Like I said, we hang out, watch movies, and this time around I was picking the movie, and I didn't want to watch a romantic one. I was like, I'm not really, I'm in my feelings pretty much. Listen, I'm in my feelings, so I want to watch something funny too. Jeez. I wanted to watch something funny because I didn't want to be in my feelings. So he has a mini studio in his house. So when I said I'm in my feelings, he said feelings laughingly. I'm like, That's how then let's go and record.
Becky.
Yes.
What's going on between Kiddy and Sina?
How am I supposed to know?
But you are there.
But no, listen. If somebody's, having something to do with somebody and they don't want to come out to tell you, how am I supposed to know? She says that they're not dating. They're just, cool friends. Okay.
Whatever that is between them, it's working. A lot of chemistry.
Yeah, it's working for the music, for maybe for the money. But I don't know whether it's, actually. I mean, if you're telling the public that, oh no, we're not dating, then the next day we see pregnancy and it happens to be Kiddy's baby. Well,
let's take their word for it.
Well,
and let's enjoy the music for now.
Okay, let's enjoy Samini's new music.
Today's a day of fresh releases.
Yeah. So this particular song, Old Man's Radio, is off his Untamed album. He released the video. The video talks about a story that personally I want Samini to have a conversation about this particular one. So hopefully we'll get Samini. But let's, have a feel of the song.
I like the drama in there.
Exactly, my point. So if you haven't seen the video, you can go on my Joy Online, the entertainment page.
Okay.
That's where you find the video. You can just click on the link.
But the link is out. The full video
is
out on all the digital platforms.
All the digital platforms.
Looks like he went home to shoot this one.
Yeah.
Because you see
you see the home feel. At a point, he was even speaking their language. I never knew that he speaks a language, but yeah, you have that in there.
It's been a while. When are you catching up with Samini?
Brian, when are we catching up? You should, I know that he's watching, so hopefully.
Brian, let's hear from you.
Yes, he'll be on E-Vibes.
All right. Hopefully. Thank you very much, Becky, for bringing us the latest in the world of showbiz. Anytime. And that's it for now. We have more stories for you after this. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, $300,000, that's what is needed to save the eyesight of Abena Puma Esiedu. She was diagnosed with pituitary macroadenoma, a type of brain tumor, which caused her to go blind in her left eye. Now, she has also been experiencing hormonal imbalances as a result of the tumor, causing her to bleed almost every day. Her deteriorating condition needs urgent attention. My colleague Judith Awachitando has more in the following report.
We actually have a family business we set up. It's a natural fruit juice company. We started supplying, we were pushing it.
With each passing moment, Abena's eyesight grows dimmer and dimmer. She's only 30 and has a life filled with dreams ahead of her. It all started in the month of February 2021 when Abena started experiencing blurry vision.
I was driving. I didn't really notice anything until I hit a taxi. Then I said, I told my cousin, I had an elder cousin, I said, I didn't see the taxi driver approaching. And everybody was like, aha, because it was coming.
Several scans and MRIs revealed one of the most shocking news. Abena was diagnosed with a brain tumor. She was devastated.
She said, you have a tumor in there. Then I said, okay, what kind of a tumor? She tried to encourage me, like, oh, there's a cure, go see the neurosurgeons. They can speak more on it than I.
And for her family, the news was almost impossible to bear.
You knew her before. She's the party type, the very bubbly, and I'm always there, like whatever you want to do it. But she's always encouraging you, but it brought her spirit down and it affected everybody. If you know our team, everybody will tell you she's the bubbly one amongst us. So for me personally, it affected me because she was the one always driving me around. I'll just push the seat backwards and be like, where have you got into? So, like, one time will come when you people have to take over.
She needed surgery, one that had to be conducted in the shortest possible time.
I remember I asked him, oh, I read that there's this drug that can shrink the tumor. He said, it's blinding you. Like, are you aware of what is happening? Because it's surgery that she told me. You can only be fine if we take the tumor out.
With her family's help, she had the surgery, and Abuna thought she'd get better. But results from a post-surgery scan crushed her even more.
The tumor had a measurement before surgery, and I knew the measurement. And then after surgery, there was a measurement. I looked at it, and then I pulled the old one before surgery. And it was almost the same. It was virtually the same. After dialogues with them, we agreed I get a second opinion and get a second surgery. That can kind of wipe away everything. The Weill Cornell Presbyterian Hospital. They gave us a neuro, they assigned the neuro to my case. My doctor sent my scans and MRIs and everything. And then they said they could do it. Almost 300,000 USD.
She needs an emergency surgery or Abena loses her sight forever.
I've been having my menses from 8th June. They give me drugs, stops for a day and it's back. Stops for days and it's back. Headaches. Tumor is still there, my left eye is off and it's getting around my right eye. They call it peripherals. So when someone is actually here, I can't see. I could see. So I'm out there begging anyone to help me go through this.
All Abena wishes for is to see properly again. But she cannot do this on her own. She needs your help, and she needs it urgently. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Judith Awache Tando.
And if you're moved to help, kindly send your donations to the numbers that will be displayed on your screens. That's it on your screen right now. If you're touched by the story and you want to help Abena Pomersidu to see properly and not lose her sight completely, you can send Momo to the numbers on your screen or to the bank account details on your screen. Health congestion at the wards of the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital is increasing as the facility continues to grapple with accommodation deficit for patients. Now, hospital authorities are looking up to the government in the release of land for expansion project. This was revealed during the hospital's 2021 mid-year performance review conference.
The increase in road accidents and improvement in the operations of the National Ambulance Service have resulted in increased referrals to the Accident and Emergency Center at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. According to the Chief Executive, Dr. Henebo Sudanso, this has led to congestion in the hospital.
The current situation is affecting patient care and subjecting members of our clinical teams to chronic stress and burnout because of the persistent overcrowded admissions. Among others, it is important for the country to strategize more effectively towards improving road safety through responsible driving and other interventions, while management reiterated the appeal for the expansion of the inpatient facilities at the hospital.
He further indicated the completion of the first phase of the Maternity and Children project will not be enough to accommodate clients. The hospital has therefore appealed to the government to speed up processes in the release of adjoining military land to expand the project.
The eventual completion of the first phase of the Maternity and Children Block project, currently under active construction, will not result in the provision of the much needed space to meet the needs of clients. It is in the light of this that management would like to emphasize the passionate appeal for the processes leading to the release of additional land from the adjoining military lands to be expedited to allow for the expansion of existing facilities and the start of a number of proposed donor-partnered supported clinical projects.
Reporter for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
And government is taking 1.5 million out of the 70 million doses of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines granted as a gift to Africa by the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Joy News is learning President Akufo-Addo has dispatched an aircraft to bring in the doses. At a media briefing at the Jubilee House, Director of Communications at the Presidency, Eugene Ayin, says the gesture came out from the President's bilateral discussions during his recent visit to Germany.
The President held a number of meetings with key stakeholders, prominent amongst them being the President of the European Commission, that's President Ursula von der Leyen. He held a meeting with also the members of the German Africa Foundation in the German Parliament, and also executives from the Siemens Group. As we all know, the Siemens Group is key with respect to the Compact of Africa initiative, specifically with respect to projects that are going on in Ghana. He also held bilateral discussions with the German Chancellor with respect to vaccines, with respect to the acquisition of naval patrol boats for the Ghana Navy, and also basically matters to do with strengthening the bonds of cooperation and the ties of friendship between Ghana and Germany. And lastly, he also participated in the G20 Compact with Africa program. He made it clear at the meeting that the Compact initiative has had a tremendous impact on Ghana with respect to certain things we've been trying to do, and with respect to our key initiative of becoming Africa's investment hub. He made it clear that, for example, as a result of the Compact program, we've been able to establish the Volkswagen vehicle assembly plant. Currently, memorandums of understandings have been signed with a German company called Voith Hydro Holding for the supply of technologies for the construction of a hybrid solar hydro power plant.
Now, 4 years ago, one of Ghana's worst school disasters struck in the central region when a fallen classroom wall met 6 kindergarten children, killing them instantly and injuring many others. Children in the Roman Catholic school, just meters away, say they have been living in fear as they say their own classroom is in worse condition. That one was killed 6 weeks ago. This week, Joy News is launching the Classroom Project to highlight the need for self-help in addressing school infrastructure challenges across the country. My colleague Justice Bedu, who reported on the incident when it happened in 2017, has been back in the community to see what has changed. Here's his report.
This is Breman Jamre's Ground Zero. It was here 4 years ago that 6 children crashed to their death in a building collapse that shook the nation. Today, some of the children who survived that accident play in the leftover rubble. Joy News' coverage of the disaster moved non-governmental organizations to build the structure which now houses some of the children. That aside, not much has changed. This is the Jamra Roman Catholic School. It's only a few meters away from the Methodist school that collapsed. The scenes here are way too familiar.
The building, sometimes when someone just hits his hands on the wall, you see that the wall is shaking. And someone will say, hey, it's going to collapse, so it's going to... Then you try to get out of the class. Someone will come and tell you that I dreamt that the school has collapsed. So when you are sitting there, you say, hey, I don't want to sit near the corner. This one dreamt this, so.
There are cracks on the wall. That's made us think that our building is a death trap. And when the wind flows, the building shakes. And we thought it is going to break. And there's darkness in the room. When it is 10 o'clock going, the dark comes to our class because there was no windows in the class and the heat. When the teacher is teaching, we have to use book to fan ourselves. Due to that, we cannot be concentrated.
She leaned out of the window.
The school was put up largely by community members of Jamra. It is now run by the government and yet has seen very little infrastructure development. Much of the walls have open cracks and fallen roofs. Last year, villagers here worried it may come crashing down, pull down 2 classrooms, moving students to already congested spaces.
This is the fourth public school in this community. This one here alone has close to 600 students. While so much has been done in the other schools to bring up infrastructure to match up the numbers, so much more remains undone in many of the other schools. This leaves many children like the vulnerable ones in here today studying at the peril of their lives.
In the heart of the town, I have come to meet Nana Kwesi Enin III. He is the Krontihini of this small town.
Years ago, everybody expected the government to do everything. Now, the demand on the government has increased. The years ago expectation cannot work now. The community is willing and ready to, as it were, provide communal labor to support any NGO, any philanthropist, any institution that will want to come and rebuild the school building for us.
The warning bells from February 17, 2017, when that school accident happened here, rings loud in the minds of these children. It looks like it's only a matter of when, and not if, that they too would see their own classroom block come tumbling down. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Breman Jamra in the Central Region.
So who are the children who were killed in the February 17 disaster? We put together a photo slide of these children and the dreams they had, dreams they did not live to see. And so if you want to support the Classroom Project by Joy News, that's how you can help us. Those are the mobile money details on your screen. You want to take note of them, and the bank account details as well. Just send in your donation. We're raising funds to build classroom blocks, for these children. We don't have our children die in their quest to seek education. And so it is the Classroom Project by Joy News, and you want to support it with your generous donations. That's how we end Joy News Prime. Many thanks for your company. We have more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Ernest Mino.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university